Welcome to the second dev vlog for To Cast Shadow on Light. So this is going to be going over some mechanics in the strategy RPG I'm working on. So to begin, I just want to talk about the basics of combat. So combat will have this timing-based system where whenever you perform an attack, there will be a very short, very quick minigame where a white bar or some kind of colored bar moves across another bar. So like there's this little indicator that moves across, and then whenever you hit the action button, it will place a node, and then that will be what attack you get. So there are three zones. There's the yellow zone, the red zone, and the blue zone. The yellow zone, you have normal damage and accuracy. So if you have a character that has high base accuracy, which will be a stat I'll go over in a minute, they will generally always hit and you'll deal normal damage. Now, if you time it so that as this bar moves across the other bar, the attack bar, to get the node in the red area, you'll get a crit. So essentially, wherever you hit A is where the attack ends up. And then, of course, if you get it in the blue, meaning that if you risk going for a crit but then actually don't time it correctly, you will get a miss. So there's risk versus reward, and also red attacks always hit. Crits won't deal a ton of damage. They'll deal maybe like 1.2 times damage, 1.3 times damage. I don't want crits to be so powerful that if you just get crits, it just beats the game easily. I want them to be like a slight damage increase that always hits, so you can remove randomness from the equation with mechanical skill. However, if you don't want to do this mini game, you can just hit A in the normal area and just use accurate characters or use abilities that have high accuracy. So that way, if you don't care for this, you can just kind of use the easy time window for base attacks. And then if you really want to go for the crits, you can. So this moves across. As you hit A, it places a thing. So it's pretty straightforward. It's going to be quick. This will take like 1, maybe 2 seconds. And there will only be 5 to 9 playable characters per map, so it's not going to be like a ton of input. And also there's no like zoom in camera like in Fire Emblem, so like that's usually like a few seconds to like zoom in, have the attack animations play. So it's going to be very intuitive, very quick, very snappy. I might make a setting so it automatically just attacks in a yellow bar range if you want to skip this entirely as like an option. So if you don't even want to use this, it'll just basically play like a Fire Emblem type game. But for now, it's going to be in. That'll probably be like a quality of life option. All right, so let's talk about stats. So each character has unique base stats, so meaning that they all have different health, durability, willpower, and so on. The actual stats themselves, HP or health, how much HP a unit has. So the higher the health, the more damage you can take before dying. Durability, this is your physical defense stat. Willpower, this is your magical defense stat. Dex is your base weapon accuracy. So if you're going for yellow hits, like yellow accuracy damage attacks, this is what will be used. Strength is physical damage dealt. Intelligence is magical damage dealt. Agility, how well a character can climb. So there will be obstacles in the game. There will be height. So for example, if a character has 2 agility, they can climb 2 blocks. If they have 3 agility, they can climb 3. So that's like 3 tile or 3 block units high. Movement, how many tiles a character can move. And then capacity, how many action points a unit has. So action points are going to be used for abilities. So outside of basic attacks, action points will generate 1 per turn, and abilities consume anywhere from 1 to 5 action points per ability. So this is kind of like your main resource for tactics, right? So managing action points, using abilities when it makes sense to. This is part of the action point economy. So some characters can generate more AP to allies. Some can remove AP from enemies. There will be enemy units that can remove AP from your allies as well. So there's going to be a balancing act where you can debuff enemies to prevent them from doing big things, and they can do the same to you. And there will be certain enemy types that essentially will like shock the playable characters because of the horrific displays they produce. So kind of like a psychological debuff in a way to remove action points from your units. So you'll have to play around those and be smart with how you position your units so they don't get denied action points from enemy debuffers. Similarly, you can also boost AP slightly. It's not going to be like Medina from Triangle Strategy, who can just like spam tons of action points to other units. There will be units who just like give slight buffs and give AP, like one maybe 2 AP, but it'll cost them AP, so they'll have to like transfer it in a way. And I might make it so that you always lose AP. So if you have a unit who gives another unit AP and buffs them, they'll lose more AP than the other unit gains. So like maybe you spend 3 AP to give a unit 2, for example. There'd be benefits to that, because then let's say, for example, you could use another big ability like right after you just used it in the previous turn. So that's one idea. AP economy is the managing of action points, ability use, and gaining and losing AP. So also note that capacity is different. So there will be units that have 4 AP. There will be units that have 5. There will be units that have like 6 to 7. The bigger the unit, so for example, if you're on a heavy unit, if you have like heavy units on your team, they'll have higher capacity for more abilities. And the smaller the unit, generally the lower AP they'll have. But the AP abilities and the abilities effects will scale. So if an ability costs a lot of AP, it has to be really good or perform some big impact thing. And if an ability is cheap, it can't be too strong, because then it'll be too good and you'll just always use that. So the power of the abilities will be balanced around how many action points they cost. But this is just like a quick overview of like stats, combat mechanics, and action points, just to give you an idea as to how the game will actually play. But that's it for this one. I just wanted to talk about the stats, just kind of define some things. There's also going to be, like, there's weight classes. There's also a 4th class type that I haven't gone over yet, because I'm holding off on it until I have like some more artwork done, but I'm still sculpting artwork, making stuff for this. The logo, I probably will update it. I might make this this logo here 3D and make it look really cool. This is just like a placeholder for now, but yeah, that's it for now. Definitely like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Feel free to drop a comment, let me know what you think about all this, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.